Hello, fellow human light beings. This is Mahadeva, the Thunder Wizard. Welcome back to the channel. So this is the solar flash update for December 14th. My experience is that the 3D to the 5D Earth split is intensifying. So I'm going to give you 5 things that you can do to help you separate from the third dimension, and most importantly, how to stay conscious during the split. Welcome back to the channel. So first off, before we do anything, if you are new to the channel, here's what I would like for you to do. Whoops. If you're new to the channel, do this. Number 1, subscribe, like, and comment, obviously. Then, this is very important, go to the playlists section. Click on the following playlists. The Maoshan Qigong is one, Interdimensional Meditation is another, and the 12 Steps to 5D. Those 3 playlists are the most important playlists right now, especially if you're new. So if you're watching this after it's uploaded, go ahead and pause and go to those playlists so you know where they are. Of course, go to the Thunder Wizard DOTCOM YouTube channel page to do that. And then do at least one thing from those 3 playlists every day. At least one thing from one of the playlists. If you can do one thing from all 3, that's great. And then lastly, subscribe to the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong, which you can find at thunderwizard.com, the website. And I'll give you more information about why that's so important. Just to let you know, I'm getting emails almost on a daily basis from people telling me how much those practices have helped them, how their lives are transforming. I mean, you know, these are exercises that are coming directly from higher dimensional beings of light. And I can't overstress the power, and I mean exactly what I say, that this is the most powerful energy meditation system in history. So after you've done 1 through 4, then go and subscribe to the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. All right, so the 3D to the 5D Earth split is intensifying. So what do I mean by that? So if you're new to this channel, you may want to go to the Solar Flash playlist. There's a lot of videos in there, but this has been talked about for a long time, that there's going to be an Ascension event, and the Ascension event is going to be a worldwide event that has to do with higher energy, higher frequency energy that's being sent to the sun from the galactic center, which is another way of saying the black hole at the center of our galaxy. And then that higher dimensional energy is being directed to Earth from the sun. And this has been talked about for, you know, maybe 20 years. And people have been calling it the Ascension. People have been calling it the shift to 5D. People have been calling it the solar flash event. And I was shown that there's going to be an event. Now, I wasn't shown exactly what the event is. I was shown symbolically that the meaning of the event is that people are going to believe in this one worldwide event. They're going to see something in the sky that they believe is the second coming of God, for whatever their religion is. But then as soon as they have that awareness and they accept that, then there's going to be awareness that in fact it's something much more, it's far beyond what they could have imagined. And when I asked specifically after seeing this dream, I went and talked to the light beings that were sharing this with me, and I asked them specifically, and I said, what exactly is this event going to be? Is it going to be a fleet of spaceships? And their response was no. It's going to be a series of solar waves of love, I'm quoting, that are going to hit the Earth and shift the Earth up to the next level of awareness. So that was about a year and a half ago, almost to the day. And since then, of course, I have been investigating it and continuing to explore it in meditation. And I've come to the conclusion that whatever that event is going to be, there's also something else that is very likely going to happen. And that is going to be that the earth is going to split. And what that means is there actually are multiple earths existing right now in different frequencies. The beings known as Sasquatch or Bigfoot, those are actually beings from a higher dimensional earth. I know this from personal experience because I have had a Sasquatch experience, and I can tell you that the being I was experiencing was not from this earth, was not from this three-dimensional earth. And it was one of the most intense, frightening experiences I've ever had because, well, not only because it's Bigfoot, but because being aware that I was interacting with another dimension was absolutely, earth-shattering to my three-dimensional brain. I made a video about it. If you look for it, it's something about Sasquatch or Bigfoot, my Bigfoot experience many years ago. So we live on multiple earths already, and I was very against the idea of this. I started hearing about this, that there's going to be a shift from the 3D earth to the 5D earth, and I was very against this because it goes against my desire for everybody to be saved, everybody to be given this opportunity. And it reminded me of born-again Christianity, where people are going to go to hell because they're not part of the right club, and they are going to be sent away eternally and suffer forever. That's something I can't tolerate. And somebody was trying to explain to me, no, it's not like that. It's a different frequency, just like on your radio. You tune to a specific frequency to hear a specific station, and that people were going to shift naturally to their internal frequency setting. And so there's going to be more than just one, two earths. There's going to be a bunch of different earths, as there already are. And I still struggled with this. And I went into meditation and I asked the light beings, I said, explain to me how this is going to happen. And the way it was explained to me was, when you see the sun hit the earth now, you're seeing this white light. Imagine if there was a prism, and if you put a prism between you and that white light, that prism is going to split that white light up into different colors. It's coming from the same light. It's just a different refraction. It's a different frequency of that. Blue is not the same frequency as red, green, whatever. So that's how it was first explained to me. And then somebody explained it as different octaves on a keyboard, playing the same note, but, going up the keyboard in different octaves. And then one night, as I was sleeping, I woke up in the middle of the night and I was getting ready to turn over and go back to sleep. And I heard in the room, as though and there's no piano in my bedroom, somebody was playing the piano. Bing, bing, bing. And I went, that's interesting. Went back to sleep, woke up again another couple hours later. And when I woke up, bing, bing, bing. So somebody was trying to tell me very clearly that this is a real thing. I've now come to believe this. My experience has been that there's continuing to be a shift and a split. We've seen it politically for a long time. Politics has become more and more polarized. And in fact, the age that we live in, the Yuga, by the way, we don't live in Kali Yuga. Unfortunately, the true interpretation of the Yugas has been lost on most Vedic scholars. But there's a few that have cleared that up. We actually went through the last part of Kali Yuga in the 1700s, and when we started going into the Renaissance, that's when we shifted into the next Yuga, which is called Dwapara Yuga. Dwapara Yuga means half and half. And Kali Yuga was supposed to be 75% of the people on the earth are unconscious and 25% are conscious. Dwapara Yuga, it's split in half. Half of the population is conscious and the other half is unconscious. So it's becoming more and more unavoidable for me to accept this reality, and it's also based on my experience. So when you have ascension symptoms, whatever word you want to use for that, that is your lower vibrational self trying to fight against the higher vibration that's trying to come in. And in case you have any doubts about whether or not this energy is coming in, first, again, let me tell you what the New Age community has been saying for a long time, which sounds ridiculous to my normal brain. But what they've been saying is that higher frequency gamma radiation is going to be, during the event, is going to be sent from the galactic center through some wormhole to the sun, and the sun will then send that to Earth and shift it up. Now, when you listen to that, first off, you think that's just nonsense. There's just nothing scientific about that. Except scientists are now saying this very thing without realizing it. And there's the oh my God particle and things like that people are discovering. But one of the interesting things that scientists have recently discovered is that gamma radiation is hitting the Earth and it's coming from the sun. Now, these same scientists will say, and that's impossible. The sun cannot transmit that level of radiation. It doesn't have the power. But it's very clear that this is coming from the sun. And they go on to say, we don't know how, but somehow gamma radiation from the black hole at the center of our galaxy is somehow finding its way into the sun, and then the sun is sending it to us. And that's exactly what the New Age crowd has been saying for decades. That gamma radiation from the galactic center is going to be sent through a wormhole through the sun and is going to be sent to Earth, and it's going to shift the Earth up. So I want to give you another way to look at it, which is that high level of energy that's hitting Earth is actually creating that harmonic split. Imagine that, wherever we are now, the third dimension we're at now, imagine that that's a prism. And as this energy hits the prism, it's refracting into different frequencies. And against what I would have thought, higher dimensional frequency, when you are a three-dimensional human, when it hits you, it's not just this blissful thing and you just explode into bliss, which when you're prepared for it, it does do that. But what happens when it hits our 3D frequency is that we resist it because it feels like it's killing us. And the reason why it feels like that is because it is actually destroying our third dimensional vibration, our third dimensional ego. It's destroying that. I'm telling you this not from theory. I'm telling you this from what's now been a year and a half or more of almost daily interaction with higher dimensional beings. And as you know, if you go back to the earlier videos in June of 2022, I was really having a tough time trying to just survive the higher dimensional energy that was hitting me. And my three-dimensional ego was dying. My three-dimensional brain couldn't comprehend what was happening. Psychologically, I was going through a huge death. And they told me when they first connected with me, the first thing they showed me was that they were going to take me through a very intense shamanic initiation, which is death to your attachments to the third dimension. So this is now happening to the whole world. The difference is a lot of people don't know it's happening. And that's really too bad, because if people continue to fight against this shift, the only result is that they will go to the frequency of Earth that is where people who resist it go, which will be going to basically the book 1984. That's what's coming for them. And those of us who are seeking to raise our frequency, we will go to what people are considering 5D. So I want to give you 5 steps that you can use to begin to shift beyond your 3D attachments. So this is an addendum to the 5 things that I gave you recently. So I'm assuming that you're already doing that, but we'll go through those. I'll just list them. I won't go into detail. But let's see, which ones do I want? So the 5 steps to the 5D light body. So you got to be doing these things. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch that video very quickly. Number 1, realize that 3D is a projection of ego reflection, replaying past conflicts. It means that to live in the third dimension means you're constantly reliving the past. Every moment that you experience is actually a moment that has just transpired and you're remembering it. So being in the third dimension means you don't live in the present moment. So the first step is to realize that. It's an ego reflection, and you focus on your past conflicts. That's a third dimensional property we all have. Number 2, listen to the pain, the emotional pain, and remember what started it. Remember when it, how old were you when you feel this pain come up? When did this first happen? I'm going through some stuff right now. Some people are being very, very hurtful to me, and it's bringing up an original wound from my mother, garbage that my mother did to me when I was 5 years old. So I'm not really reacting to them. The intense feelings that are coming up from these people's actions are coming from actually unresolved wounds from when I was 5 years old. So listen to the pain and remember what started it. Number 3, eliminate all resentments from the past. If you're still angry about something, if you're still thinking about something, if you're still replaying and rehearsing what you should have said to somebody just a few days ago, that's called a resentment. And so eliminate all the resentments from the past by doing the 4th step on the 12 steps to 5D. Number 4, reset every programmed response in the moment. Meaning be conscious in the moment. Be sure that you don't respond out of your fear and your anger. Catch yourself and respond out of consciousness, not from your 3D past conflict memories. Number 5, do the big 3. The energy work, which is the Qigong, the interdimensional meditation, and the 12 steps to 5D. Those are the 3 playlists I keep telling you to go back to. So make sure that you're familiar with this first. Realize 3D is a projection of the ego reflection. Listen to the pain, remember what started it. Eliminate all resentments from the past. Reset every programmed response in the moment. And the most important of all of these is to do the big 3 every day. Energy work, interdimensional meditation, 12 steps to 5D. The stuff that I'm sharing with you is what I am doing to survive these shifts. Now, you can see me as unspiritual if you want, but I am not immune to these ascension symptoms. I'm really feeling them. I have to really put effort almost on a daily basis not to just give myself a headache because I start going into a bad place. Today, for example, I was interacting with yesterday with some people, and some very painful stuff came up, and people were responding to me in ways that I didn't like, and they were pointing out to me ways that I needed to change, and I didn't like any of that. And I woke up this morning very angry and very hurt. And so, I know what to do to get myself back into alignment. Doesn't mean that the difficulties go away. And sure enough, I was at the grocery store, and I live in a seasonal tourist town, so people show up on the holidays. And of course, this is the biggest one. It's summertime here, and so everybody from all over Australia seems to be showing up here. So I'm having to deal with all these crowds at my local tiny grocery store, and I'm getting in a bad mood. And I go out to find that my car is missing. And I went through where did I park it, and I came to the conclusion that somebody had stolen my car. I even went back into the store and said, put this in the refrigerator. I think somebody stole my car. But sure enough, I had parked on the other side of the parking lot, almost on the street, because it was so crowded, and I didn't remember. And I had to stop myself and say, nobody stole your car. Because I was starting to get into that place where I just hated everything and everybody. So if you're having symptoms, you're not alone. I'm going through it as well. And maybe I'm going through it worse than you. Maybe the reason I'm the person teaching this stuff, in fact, I think there's some truth to this, isn't because I'm so much superior to any of you. It's that I'm actually, I have to really work, which I have. I've spent my whole adult life working on myself to be able just to survive the garbage inside of me and the garbage I went through. So I'm, as I always say to people, if you want what I have, you got to do what I do. So I'm giving you tools. These tools work if you pay attention and do them. All right, so what it is that we're going to do, the 5 things. So you've got to do these first. Go check out that video again. And the 5 things that I'm telling you to do to refine your detachment from the 3rd dimension, because what I'm finding is that what I've been saying is continuing to be more and more true. I've been saying for a while now that people are starting to shift. They're starting to split. And what's happening is people in your life, you're going to find, there are going to be some people who are going to start to act very strangely. And they're going to be very irrational. There might be, I'm not wishing this on you, but it's very possible that there are going to be people in your life that are going to turn on you. And they're going to start attacking you in ways you didn't know were possible. They're going to forget all of the history you had with them. They're going to forget all of the love. They'll forget it. And they will start attacking you. They might disappear on you. They might do horrible things to you. You may want to disappear from them. You may be acting this way towards people. I'm doing everything in my power not to act out on this stuff. Today I really wanted to just, I thought somebody had stolen my car. And I was getting ready to be in a really bad mood. Just watch for this. And so the point I'm trying to make is that it feels to me like what has been said is happening. This energy is hitting us. It keeps hitting us. And if people resist it, they're going to get worse and worse and worse. They're going to start to shift downwards. And as I've said, the worst thing that we can be doing right now, the worst thing we can be doing is to try and stay in the same place. Trying to stay right where you are and not change is guaranteed that you will, at the very least, go through tremendous misery. You might make yourself physically sick. You might make yourself psychologically insane. You might end up shifting down to the other level. So, got to watch yourself, but definitely other people are, if they're trying to stay where they are and they're not evolving, they're going to shift down. The good news is a lot of people are evolving. My neighbor, whenever I've been speaking with him over the past few months, he's coming to these awarenesses that most people only find out after years of meditation. Like he realized that some physical ailments he was having was purely coming from his mind, that there wasn't anything physically wrong with him. And, he realized, wow, and what's really important is to be happy in life and to have a goal and to, basically talking the same kind of stuff I say, but it's just coming out of him naturally, which means that he was already in a mindset, even though he's, might be very different on a lot of other levels than I am. He's internally responding to this energy and evolving with it. So not everybody who's spiritual, and does all the stuff that us spiritual people do, not all of those people are going to shift up. And not all of the normal, everyday, go to work and wear a tie crowd, not all of those are going to shift down. We're really finding out who people really are. And that's the amazing thing to me. The people in my life who I'm seeing are people who have presented themselves for decades as spiritual, progressive, self-evaluating, focused on evolution and love and acceptance and tolerance, and they've become the most intolerant, judgmental, closed-minded people I've ever run across. The most destructive people I've ever run across are people who up until this point have been the most loving, the most spiritual. You're finding out who, people's real clothes. You're finding out what they've really got underneath. So any one of us can make the decision to shift. If you're finding out you're not as progressive and spiritual as you thought, you're finding that you're reacting in these ways, the good news is you can just simply make the decision to shift. And I'm giving you tools. I guarantee you, if you follow my directions and you do the tools that I'm giving you, I guarantee you, you will evolve. It might be very painful. I don't need that to be the case. It might be incredibly blissful, but I guarantee you, you will make it if you simply follow instructions and do the practices, and I guarantee you things will start to shift in a more positive direction. It's okay if you have ascension symptoms, and that would be the only time I would say somebody can call it ascension symptoms. Because most of the time, when people are calling it ascension symptoms, what they're really doing is they're spiritualizing their resistance. And it's true, they're having symptoms, but when you're doing the work, when you're doing the shifts, and you're examining yourself and you're willing and able to grow, then you can say you're suffering from ascension symptoms, because it's either ascension symptoms or resistance symptoms. And I think there's a difference between the two. I'm going to have to make a video about that. Anyway, so the 5 things to do. Check to see if any anxiety is coming from the current situation. This is something I'm doing on a daily basis. I already know, just from the work that I've done on myself my whole adult life, but I already know from what I know about what's happening. When I wake up in the morning and my head starts telling me that I'm in a bad mood and this happened to me and those people did this and I got to be worried and anxious about the future, and I stop and I go, do I have any evidence to back up these feelings? Is there anything happening in my life right now at this moment, this general time period? Nobody's coming after me. Nothing but good things are coming my way. Everything is going my way. I'm physically doing very well. There's nothing happening in my life to justify these feelings. Now, the people who are attacking us, I'm going to tell you exactly what they're doing. I've told you this before. What's happening is that they're having resistance symptoms, and all of our old issues are coming up to the surface, and we're all realizing it. Some of us are having past life symptoms coming up to the surface, things that you realize that you've done in past lives and things you need to get over. So there's a huge amount of emotional and psychological pressure on everybody. But what our minds do is our minds, in order to explain and justify the pain, we look in our present condition and look for what the problem is. And then we find something that's not the way we want it to be. We blow it out of proportion, put it under a magnifying glass, blow it way out of proportion, and then we say, see, that's why I'm so upset, because you put the toilet paper on the roll backwards. If you put the toilet paper, if you didn't lift the seat up, everything would be okay. the fact that you don't listen to me and you don't put the toilet seat up means that you don't love me. And by the way, 6 years ago when you said, this is what's going on. And this is, if you realize the people that are coming at you, and I'm almost quoting verbatim somebody that's mad at me for something that happened 6 years ago. And I haven't even bothered to say, I'm not the same person I was 6 years ago. Okay. You really upset about something that old? It was a long time ago. But that's what's happening. People can't, they're in so much turmoil because they're resisting the shift that the only way to justify their pain is to find something, and it's usually the people closest to them. And it's usually the people that love them the most or have the closest access to them emotionally, and they're going to find that is the problem. A lot of relationships are going to start coming apart at the seams. I'm not wishing that. I'm willing to bet that a lot of marriages are falling apart right now. Relationships are falling apart. People are losing their jobs. People are quitting. All kinds of crazy. And of course, there's wars all over the world. It's all symptom of it's resistance symptoms. So check to see if any anxiety is coming from your current situation. Determine the original 3D lifetime wound causing the pain. I gave you an example earlier. The people that are being unkind and cruel to me. The truth is they don't really have that much access to me personally that they, I'm not married to them. I don't work with them. They're not friends. I'm not partners with them. So they really don't have the power to cause me all of the pain that their hostile behavior is causing me. The pain that I'm experiencing is coming from, the original wound. And I said the original wound was when, my mother at age 5 betrayed my trust and completely changed on me and was incredibly hurtful to me. And I never got over it. And so I'm still experiencing that. And so this is my chance to finally release that and let go of that and get rid of the devaluation programming within me. So this is the opportunity. This is why I haven't, stopped going to this group and why I haven't stopped allowing these people access to me, because I know they're not powerful enough to cause me this much pain. It's coming from my old reactions to my mother, who did have the power to cause me that much pain. So, to determine the original 3D lifetime wound causing your pain, get some counseling. Listen, I have a therapist. I am, a coach and an apprentice counselor here. So if you need somebody that you need to talk this stuff through, you can go up here to thunderwizard.com and become an apprentice. You can talk to me one-on-one once a month or up to 4 times a month, depending on the subscription level. But I'm not the only game in town. Find a mentor, find a therapist. If you're working a 12-step program, that's great because it doesn't cost you anything, and you can find a sponsor. You can find whole rooms full of people that will sit and counsel you and listen to you. So share these things. Don't keep them bottled up, because that's guaranteed to create more resistance symptoms. Determine the original 3D lifetime wound causing the pain. Number 3, make sure not to project old wounds onto the present. That's what my brain tried to do today. I tried to project my anger. In fact, I started going into, someplace I haven't been in a very long time, when I was getting really ornery and cranky and wanting to give people the stink eye, and that's old behavior. I don't do that anymore. So I had to stop and say, what is this about? This has nothing to do with the fact that I'm waiting an extra 30 seconds in line and that I had to park my car, a minute farther from where I normally park it. This has nothing to do with that. So make sure you're not projecting, like again, the people who are being so cruel to me, they're projecting their unresolved stuff that they don't want to look at. They're projecting it onto me because I happen to be convenient and I happen to remind them of people or things in their life. Or I happen to be somebody who represents taking action and looking at yourself and changing, and they don't like that either. So make sure that you're not going to cause pain. I put this in here specifically. Make sure not to project old wounds onto the present because of what I'm going to say, which is very important. So before you destroy a relationship, before you quit, before you walk away from something. Make sure that you're not projecting onto those people. And then number 4, eliminate all activities that keep you in the third dimension. So what bad habits do you have? Do you watch YouTube for hours at a time? Do you watch porn for hours at a time? Do you gamble, smoke weed, drink alcohol? Is there something that you do on a regular basis that is keeping you attached and slowing your progress? Listen, this is not an easy time to be around, but this is the time. If there's ever been a time when you've been telling yourself, I'm going to quit this, finally going to quit drinking, I'm going to quit smoking, I'm going to quit doing weed, I'm going to stop gambling, I'm going to stop cheating on my wife or my husband. If you've been telling yourself that for years, this is now the time. This is kind of the last call. This is the time to decide to get rid of all of those activities that are holding you back. And then finally, make sure that you've thought it through first. Make sure you don't do this impulsively, but finally, eliminate all destructive relationships. Is it finally time to walk away from that wife or that husband, that girlfriend, that boyfriend, that job? Is it finally time to walk away? Make sure that, again, that you're not projecting. Make sure that you've really thought it through. Make sure that you've meditated on it. Talk to somebody first, a counselor, a friend, a mentor, a priest, a sponsor. Do an inventory if you're angry, especially if you're like in a relationship, you're angry with somebody. Do an inventory first. Do a 4th step first. And then if you've come to the conclusion that they're destructive, that it's really, you're not making it up, that it's not serving you, or if it's just not, what is in your best interest, now's the time to walk away from that. And I'm saying this consciously because I do believe that it's going to be important for us to get rid of our attachments. If what a lot of people have said are true, and if my interpretation of what I've been told by ETs, if I can literally interpret what I believe they've told me, it seems as though we are going to have to choose to go to a whole other dimension. I don't need that to be true. I don't need any of it to be true. And I won't be hurt if that's not the case. But it doesn't hurt us if we take it that literally. If we decide that, in a few months, maybe, in a few months, there's going to be an event and we're going to leave this version of 3D Earth and go to another one, it's going to be necessary that we don't have any attachments holding us back. So those are the 5 things to do to separate from 3D. First, do these 5 things, which we've 5 steps to 5D light body. Make sure you're doing those. And then check to see if any anxiety you're experiencing is coming from the current situation. Determine original 3D lifetime wound that's causing you your pain. Make sure not to project old wounds onto the present. Eliminate all activities that keep you in the third dimension, and eliminate all destructive relationships. All right, so there it is. I don't see any questions, and that's perfectly fine. So you guys know what to do. If you haven't read my books, you can go to michaelwilliamdenny.com. If you're not in the United States, you can go to that website and then click at the top to have it take you to, whatever country you're at, Amazon, Kindle, and Audible, or you can just type my name in there to look for my books. Askmike.thunderwizard.com. If you don't want to be my apprentice, you don't want to pay for a one-on-one session with me, but you have a question, it's very likely that other people have the same question that you do. So go here to askmike.thunderwizard.com. I will make a video of your question, and why that's important is, as I said, other people have the same question as you. So you're actually giving generously to other people, because I don't know what everybody's questions are. And so, you know, but if somebody puts the time and effort to follow the protocols at askmike.thunderwizard.com, it's not going to be some fly-by-night, you know, superficial comment that usually upsets me. It's going to be a real question that people are going to want to look at. And we've got 923.thunderwizard.com. That has all of my video courses, all of them that I've done, you know, for the past 15 years. And certifications, Vedic astrology certification, rune reading certification, distance healing certification, and what was the other one? Life coach certification, where you can do my specific protocol to help people find out what their true soul desire is. And on top of that, you get the most powerful energy practice in history, the moving forms, the shamanic 5-element moving forms of Maoshan, and those actually create portals, the most powerful direct portals that bring down higher dimensional beings, even the 5 elements themselves, which are beings. They're very powerful deities. You bring them down into your body, you become them. Go to 923.thunderwizard.com. I'm giving you all that for thousands of dollars savings. And there it is. That's everything. So I wish you guys all the best. Oh, and also, if somebody doesn't have access to PayPal and you want the 923 package, but you don't have access to PayPal, I put it up on the Patreon site, so you can, if you go there, you can subscribe at that level, and I'll give you the links, as well as you'll have access to all of the Lightning Qigong. Just make sure that you change your subscription before your 30 days are up. You have 30 days from the time you sign up. Make sure that you shift that. You'll still have access to those forms forever, because I'll give you a separate link, but that way you don't pay too much money. All right, so you can see I'm doing everything in my power to make this as accessible to everybody as possible. Plenty of free stuff on the channel, and if you want real direct high-level stuff, I'm making those available to you as well, and that helps keep the lights on. So I appreciate everybody who does subscribe to the thunderwizard.com site and has contributed and bought stuff. Keeps my lights on, keeps food in my stomach. That's it for me, guys. I wish you all the best. I love you all, and please be very good to yourself, especially in these very challenging times. And if the solar flash don't come or I don't get beamed up to the Starship Enterprise, I will see you all very soon. Please take very good care of yourselves.